Steve Wade from Listrak, straight from the US. He's going to talk about the secrets of highly converting email campaigns. So Steve, on the stage.
Can you hear me? I went around back to use the stair and it was just as big around back. So. Good evening. Thank you for being here and for taking some time to spend with me tonight. I don't know if anybody of you looked up who the speakers were going to be tonight. We did a little A/B split testing, and we put a much younger face on our ad for who's going to be here tonight. We find that we get more people to show up that way. So you have to forgive me. It's a little tricky, but you're stuck with me. I'm sorry, a little A/B split testing. You got to do it. Ross would love that. Ross is the owner and founder of our company. Started in his dorm room back in the mid-'90s. About 99, he went into business with his dad, and we are now, there you go, found in 1999. I can see it right here. Automation platform, we're an ESP, retail experts. What we do is help people with retail businesses, both online, in-store, make money and get revenue. We do that in a couple different ways, but I'm here tonight to talk about personalization and how does that help you get more email. I'm going to run through these really quickly. I think there are two big things on there that matter. Guys, I need some help. There we go. Two things that matter is retail experts and over 1,100 clients. Why does that matter? Because that gives us an index of people to work with to tell you about best practices and benchmarks. That's the important part. When I talk about personalization of email, who likes to receive email? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. You know, I got to tell you, typically when I do that, nobody's hand goes up and they all kind of smirk and laugh like, who wants email? But I must have had 10 or 11 people. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You must all be owners who are sending email and making money with it, or you probably wouldn't say that, right? Right? Okay. Most people don't like getting email. Why don't they like to get? Let me ask you this. You got a favorite brand? Who doesn't like it? Somebody doesn't like email. Give me their favorite brand. Who doesn't like email? Give me your favorite brand. Somebody. Just name a brand. Somebody. Pardon me? There you go. Okay. Now, he likes email. I know he does. All right. So he gets, let me just ask you this. If you got an email from that particular brand and it had something in that email that was something you looked at for the last couple of weeks and hadn't bought yet, but it was in that email, would you want to get that email if it had a little discount or something to make it worthwhile to buy? Would you want to get that email? I mean, most of us would want to get that email, right? So it's not that you don't like email, it's that you don't like email that's not personalized and relevant to you. Is that a fair statement? That's all we're going to talk about tonight. How do we make it personal and relevant to you? And it really all depends on recommendations. How do you recommend the right product to the right person at the right time? That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, a couple of our clients, really going to impress you there. I know that's going to impress you. Don't let it. We work with people in all fashions, small, medium, large. We've really grown over the years. As you can see, when I started the company back in, about 7 years ago, we had 25 people. We now have 200 plus. So we're growing quickly because what we're doing is really helping people make money. And I think that's pretty important. Now, when you look at that, those points along the bottom, anything stand out that you might not think you'd see from email? Anything on there? You can't see that. How about display? Does that stand out to you? Weren't we just talking a little bit about advertising? Display stands out to me because it's really not email. We're not going to talk a lot about that, but at the very end, I'm going to show you a couple of neat things about the future is going to be. Okay, moving on. There we go. How about the journey of a buyer? That's what the journey of a buyer looks like in Listrak land. You've got from awareness through reactivation and all the steps in between. And if you look at the bottom, underpinning all of those swim lanes, verticals, whatever you want to call them, underpinning all that is recommendations and segmentation. All of those things are solutions that can help you gather more customers and sell more product, which is what everybody's trying to do. Let's look at customers that value personal messages cross-channel, 83%. Retargeted ads with previously viewed items, 69%. And expect retailers to use previous interactions to personalize messages. Is that you? Do you expect that? I thought that number was a little high. The other numbers I think are pretty right on. Let's talk about considerations of design. Match your brand for seamless experience, email, site, store, if you've got a store. Anybody have stores here? Anybody stores? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a few people out to stores, okay. Setting expectations in the header. Large product images, which you're seeing there, excuse me. Badges, strike-through pricing, clear product name, social feedback, and add to cart, quick view buttons. Those are things that are important in design. The next 3 slides all have something in them that I would call a faux pas. You might call a mistake. I want you to see if you can find them. I got just something small. It's just a little power. You know, if you've ever been on a plane and you ran out of battery in your phone or your laptop, this will hold the battery for you. So I only have 3 of them, and I have three. Can you find them? All right, here we go. How about the first one? This is Staples, related merchandise frequently bought together, like items. There's Target with product discovery, viewed this, bought that, recently viewed. And there's inventory considerations with Dick's Sporting Goods, trending now, new arrivals, CEO's picks. Who can see the faux pas? All you marketing people out there now, you're going to kick yourself when I tell you what it is. Who can see the faux pas? Pardon me? That's a good one, but that's not it. But I got to tell you, it's got to be on my notes to be the right one. Anybody else? That's a great guess, but it's not in my notes. I get one more. CEOs, nope. Yes, sir.
Recommended for you is not there?
No, but they were all great guesses. I'm going to give it to the first one because he was brave. What about the brand? What brand is that middle email? Do you know it's Target? Why would they have an email or on their product? That's not email, that's on their product page. Why would they put it up there without branding it? I thought that was a pretty big faux pas. Okay, let's look at another one. What's the faux pas here? Who said that? It's not right. But since nobody else spoke up, here, would you pass that to her for me, please? Thank you. I don't want to be, I've only got 30 minutes, and I'm going to be over anyway, as you can tell already. So how about the fact that there's another pair of pants right next to it being recommended looks just like it? Why would you recommend a pair of pants? Now let's look at the difference there. Now, I'm sorry this came from a UK site. This is Tommy Hilfiger, and I know they do everything correctly, but tonight they didn't. That pair of pants, if you look closely enough, that price is £85, filtered to prevent conflicts in brand and pricing. That's the big version of that. It's the same chinos, a little different. One's Madison Twill and the other one is something else. But look at the pricing on that. I made it big so you could see it. Why would you put £85 there and right next to it put recommendations of 85, then 59, and now 42? Those are the kind of things that you and your marketing people really have to spend time on. What you don't and shouldn't be spending time on is making up all these emails that take time to make up. You should be sending automated emails. That's what we help you do. Okay, let's look at one other. What's the problem here? There you go. There you go. Please. Yeah, you've got pretty much the same thing. You've got 2 sets of duplicate items. Now, I know you guys would never do that, right? So you would never be up here on the screen. But I thought that was pretty wild. So under considerations, the customer experience, whether the customer ever notices there's a problem there or not, you've got a problem because you're not recommending the right products, not customizing that personal visit for these people. So you want to know your product feed. What do we got up here? We've got, now a lot of you would call this an algorithm. You math people, does that look like an algorithm? Does it? Okay, we call it a recipe. And you see the bars that go across there with the little buttons on the end? Those are slide bars. So if you want to do specific category makeup, you want 100% makeup, right? You don't want something else going up there. So you put the bar at 100%. You want not discontinued, put the bar at 100%. You want more than 100 in stock, put the slider at 100%. The price isn't quite as important as all the rest, so we put it halfway across, or maybe 60%. So know your product feed. More data equals better recommendations. You know the category, the discontinued, quantity on hand, price, closeout, and these are just a couple extras, amount purchased, and zip code. It could be many, many others, but those are some that we're talking about. Am I going too fast? You guys all staying with me? Anybody sleeping? I know I'm going too fast. Okay, sorry. Okay, recommendations. Recommendations is not a set it and forget it. Test, test, test. Look and feel. Appropriate levels of filters. New products versus top sellers. Past purchases versus current intent. And make no assumptions. Now, these are all things I know you knew ahead of time, but I just wanted to read them so you wouldn't forget them when I read them. Okay, how about the quick recap? Work towards the goal of that page. Now, wait a minute. We're not done yet. This is a recap of just the beginning. There's 2 parts to go yet, so you got a little bit of time to go yet. Visual elements matter. Set up appropriate filters for your business. Product feed is the backbone. Remember the customer experience, and testing never stops. Remember I talked about the A/B split testing in the beginning? We do that too. You got 100,000 names, 50,000 names, 200,000 names, and you want to find out which is the best subject line. You put 3 subject lines up there, send 5% to each of those 3 subject lines, and the 85% left over goes to the best one. That's how you should be sending email. Okay, how about touch points on site? IBM says that if you add personalized product recommendations on the following pages, you'll get a 23% revenue lift. That's IBM, that's not ListTrack. They might be right. I think they are. Your homepage, same look as your physical store and or your email. If you don't have a store, your email should look just like your homepage. On sale, trending, and recommendations at the bottom with personalized based on past activity. Your search page, ever be confused when you go to a search page? Why? It's overwhelming. Sometimes you got a big range of products, you don't really know what you're looking at. How do you keep them on the site by showing recommendations? By customer favorites especially? How does that keep them on the site? Anybody? How about the psychology of saying, here's what everybody else is looking at, here's what everybody else is buying? Just the psychology of being trendy or being with, this is not what I like, but everybody else likes that, maybe I'll buy that. That man's shaking his head. I think that's worth a $5 Starbucks gift card. Don't you think so? Because he's agreeing. Did you hear that? Have a coffee on ListTrack. See, you should have been shaking your head. You shouldn't be sleeping. All right, how about the product page? Why is this engagement? Because somebody picked and went to the product page, right? All right, you want to promote complementary products, leverage accessories, you want to complete the look, alternatives frequently bought together, and people also purchase highly rated top sellers and frequently bought together. All things you can put in recommendations. You notice recommendations are in 2 different places on that same email. On that product page. So recommendations don't just go in email or just on site, they go everywhere. And if you're just getting started, this is the page to start on the product page. Good place to begin. You want to put it everywhere, but that's pretty overwhelming to try and think you're going to go from, how about it, Johnny, from nothing to a lot. There's a lot of work involved in getting that done. Fortunately for you, ListTrack does about 80 to 85% of the work on your behalf. All of the stuff you see here, and this is my plug for ListTrack, and I'll get off of us a little bit, but all the stuff you see here, we put together all the creative, we set it all up, we make up all the recipes for you with your help. We don't just do it. We certainly, you are the navigator or the quarterback or whatever you want to call that. And then we give it to you to run, and then we help you run it with an account manager. Okay, moving on. Cart page, intent to purchase, cross-sell. Recs don't distract from the sale. Remember that they do not distract from the sale. Bought this, bought that. Include a hover view and add to cart functionality. Make sure you get to add to a button on there for add to cart. Leverage your free shipping threshold. And why not use that real estate to put some recommendations on the bottom? Make sense? Okay, international military antiques. That's a World War II map, and that's a blow-up of the recommendations. They showed like items. One's another map. It's a completely different map, but it's another map and 2 other items. Same company, International Military Antiques. The average is 1 to 3% for conversion on this particular page. IMA was getting 1%, and they started doing recommendations and went to 2%. That's 100% better. 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 100% better than 1%. I am a mathematician. I know I could do that. Shopping cart page. Conversion rate national is about 15% industry-wide. 22.5% conversion rate when we added recommendations for IMA. Big change. Something to think about. Order confirmation page. Didn't they just buy? Why would we put recommendations on something that they just bought? Because people buy some more. Opportunity to cross-sell and upsell. You've got subsequent purchase together. Here's a good one. What percentage of second sales come within 24 hours of the first sale? You can just call out a couple numbers, a percentage number. The closest one to it that I hear first will get it. Stop. We go on forever. Who said 70? Please. $5 Starbucks card on ListTrack. You could say on Steve Wade if you wanted, but we'll say ListTrack. Let me get these out, make it a little easier to do this. Okay, why is that so important? 84% of second sales take place in the first 24 hours. Rex helps you take advantage of that. Why is this so important? You'll also notice that 7 days post-purchase, a little bump there. 14 days post-purchase, little bump there. Important to do those kind of things. But why is it important to get that second sale in the first? We know what happens in the first day. If it goes beyond that day, look at your chances of getting it. So you want to get that second sale. And why is that so important? I thought you might ask me that. What is this? This is the only slide, I think, that we have right from our solutions site. This is one of our solutions called Lifecycle Marketing. Any one of those squares could have an email in it. Okay, let me just show you what we got here. Along the left side is how many times somebody's purchased. Along the top is the days outstanding. So if somebody purchased, see that? Somebody purchased one time, and within 30 days, that's where they are. Typically, everybody's looking over there to that big number and saying, what can I do with 78,000 people I lost? Don't worry about them. We'll worry a little bit about them later on, but not a lot. What we really want to worry about is right here. We've got 2,622 people that have bought. How do we get them to buy a second time? We know that if we put recommendations, if we put recommendations in, they're going to buy. About 34% are going to move on. So now we've got 34% to buy a second time. If they buy a second time, we get a 50% chance of getting a third buy. And a fourth time, we get a 49%. Now, this is ListTrack's 1,100 customer index. This is based on all of our clients put together, what happens. And that's what happens. And somebody's going to say to me, well, why don't you count to 321? Because that's more than half of 250. But that's actually 4 days, if you see what I'm talking about. I'm probably confusing. I did this for my wife. She didn't get it. I wasn't explaining it right. When I did it like this, she got it. So if you're not getting it, especially if you're a guy, you're in trouble here. Okay. How about category other on site? Anybody got search results and come up with no search results? Anybody ever had that happen to them? I send emails to people when I'm trying to sell something. I send an email and says, what happens when somebody goes on your search site and doesn't get no recommendations, not even nothing? Why say I'm sorry? Why not have something pop up and say, we couldn't find what you're looking for, but these are just like it. Why not? Recommendations, landing pages, promotions, giveaways, sweepstakes, hidden pages, 404 error pages. That ever happened to you? Don't waste that space. Put a recommendation in there. Okay, we talked about testing. Header text, price versus no price, call to action versus no call, position of recommendations, where is it supposed to be, where is it going to go, your algorithm or your recipe is hugely important, and that's a living, breathing thing. You start one place and you end another, and that's what you want to have a good account manager for, whether it's ListTrack or somebody else. Make sure if you're working with an email company that they're going to have somebody to be your right arm on their side of the team that's going to help you with benchmarks and best practices. That's really important. I know we're not the only one doing it. We're one of the few that does, and I think it's really important. Subject line is certainly one that we talked about just a second ago. All right, how about a pop-up? Anybody using pop-up on their site? On their email? On their site when you come to you're using a pop-up. All right. Now, when you do that pop-up, do you have a confirmation pop-up comes up after it? Do you? Anybody? Confirmation? Got it? I got your address. Thank you very much for giving me your address. Are you putting recommendations in your pop-up? Why not? When you get the pop-up, are you sending them to a preference center? That's probably one on on the bottom here, but I know it's on here. Propel to purchase makes navigation easy for sure. And a preference center. Why a preference center? Because a preference center will get information from a client, a customer, that you wouldn't get without asking them for it. And if you make them feel important by giving them relevant, personalized email, you'll get more information from them. You're going to get plenty just by them browsing on the site and going to the shopping cart. But getting something from a preference center, even a birthday, you can send a birthday email. How about, is your pop-up responsive? You want to make sure, like Burpee here, that if it looks like that at the site and it goes over, somebody comes home and looks at it at home, that it's going to look the same on there. Do you know that over 50% of emails are opened on a phone? Over 50%. You better be responsive. Welcome page, coupon, code in message 1 if needed. Why do I say message 1? Is there more than one? Anybody sending more than one email message, welcome message? How many send? 2? Who's sending 2? Who's sending 3? Why would you stop at 3? Am I harassing people? I'm sorry. How about if I ask it nicer? Why would you stop at 3? You know, when you work with us, we typically work with 3 emails, 3 welcome series emails. 1, 2, and 3. But if you're getting 15% conversion rate on the first one and 10 on the second one and 8 on the third one, why would you stop at 3? You really want to think about, there's a lot to think about with email, and there's certainly a lot of revenue to be made. Site navigation, recently viewed merchandise, top sellers, trending products, gateway products. What do I mean by a gateway product? Gateway product? Gateway product? Gateway product is somebody? No? Okay. No coffee card. And you can't get 2 in a row. Yes, sir. Close enough. I think this might have been a little closer, but he got one already, so you get the second one. Gateway product is simply items purchased first by new people. So what is a gateway product? Something that's typically purchased on a first purchase. Welcome. How do you get recommendation welcome message into an email that's already sent? How does that happen? You really don't unless you're doing open time optimization. So if you send an email and the recommendation is already in it, well, let's look at this. When are welcome messages opened? 83% of welcome messages are opened after 5 minutes. So with open time optimization, I can send you an email now. Because we send a welcome message, we send it immediately. It goes out within seconds, and you've got it within seconds. So now 5 minutes goes by, and in the meantime, that 5 minutes going by, you're browsing a few products, and you might even leave the site. But we're sending you an email, and if you've been on that site and browsed between the time we send it and the time you open that email, whether it's 3 minutes or an hour or 2 days, we're going to optimize those recommendations the moment you open it, or just before that moment. So that's what we call optimized open time optimization. I'll wait for questions at the end here. Browse and abandon. First hero image should be the last item viewed. Make sense? Let's talk about some subject lines that really will kind of bring people in. Text is very important, like we like your style. Pretty nice. How about we know you just viewed? Who said no? You said no already. Who else said no? Somebody else said no. I know that. Back there. How about a card for that gentleman? Why is that bad? Come on. Who wants Big Brother, right? Would you mind passing that back to that gentleman in the back there? He's the guy that wants the coffee card. You don't want something like that. You want something like this. We like your style, personal picks with you in mind, recommendations just for you. We think you have great taste. We think you have great taste. Won't you please buy from us? It's much better when you have a better tone than what I'm kind of yelling and shouting at you. Don't miss the opportunity to purchase everyone's favorites. This is psychology. This is, you want people to want to come to your site. You want people to click through. So you really want to talk much nicer like I am now instead of yelling at you like I was before. And thank you, Charles, for making me aware that I was yelling. Cart abandonment. Goal is conversion of abandoned items or similar products. Simpler the better. It used to be that we thought the simpler the better, but what are people doing now with carts? Are they using them as places to store products? Ever do that? Well, somebody spoke up. I hope you or somebody you know likes coffee. Okay, cart's a place to store items. It's really not as simple as it used to be. Add recommendations that complement related alternative merchandise, frequently bought together, view this, view that, view this, bought this, bought that, and I could go on and on and on, and you guys would be mad at me, and so would Charles, never ask me back again. Use the Shop Now button. Make sure you've got it. Make it easy for people to navigate. Think about what do you like. And if you like it, maybe. I didn't tell you in my bio, I spent 8 years running an ad agency as president of the company. We had about 25 people. And I love to talk to people who said, that's what I do. Everybody else is going to do it. Well, you do want to think about that, but just because you do it doesn't mean everybody else is going to do it. So make sure you got a Shop Now button on that. Now this is going to take a little explaining, so bear with me. I think I've got 2 slides that'll make it make sense to you. This is our typical shopping cart, day 1, 48 hours later, 72 hours later. And that's what we've been doing for many years. And then about a year and a half ago, by the way, everything that we do, everything we do is under one roof. We don't go outside. You don't need multiple vendors to do all this. I know a lot of people I talk to have 3, 4, and 5 vendors. We do recommendations ourselves. About a year and a half ago, we started using recommendations and actually putting them into email. And now we're actually doing nurturing campaigns in between. Oh, isn't that great? More email. Well, if you were the owner of the company and making money on it, you'd love it. All right, let's talk about this. This is... who is this? Alana. This is Skincare by Alana. This is what they sent for years or something similar to it for years. One day, 48 hours later, 72 hours later. Now that's what they're sending. Can you follow the line? Same product, different message. The first one's shopping cart abandonment. The second one's nurturing. Hey, have you seen this? Same products, but a different message. Then the second shopping cart message, then 2 more nurturing messages. The increase in revenue is terrific. It's something you want to think about. And if you're not at this point yet, if you've got a smaller company and you're not at this point yet, we can help you. It maybe doesn't start with recommendations. You start at one point and then you move up to that. But nurturing messages increase the conversion revenue by 21%, and 6 messages account for 10% of total email revenue for Skincare by Alana. Pretty impressive. Recurring automated campaigns, set it and forget it. Remember before I said Rex wasn't? This is more like set it and forget it. Nurture shoppers through customer journey, automated emails sent throughout the week, markdowns, new arrivals, top sellers trending, favorites top rated, and moving on to transactional, communicate specific information to engage customers and encourage loyalty. So I had a question for you. Somebody's going to get another card here in a second. Related merchandise, complete the look, frequently bought together, open rate. What's the open rate of a transactional message like this? 70%. What'd you say? 90. I'm sorry. He knows Ross, so I have to give him something. He'll go home and he'll tell Ross. Ross is the founder of our company. He'd go home and tell Ross, and I'd be in trouble. So I had to give him one. It was a plant. I told him ahead of time that I didn't, I promise. 70, I didn't even put it up there. 75 to 80%. They're opening that email. Why? Because you're giving them something they want to see. Let's put some recommendations in there. I mean, really important, don't you think? I mean, a lot of stuff, you just don't think about. I'm in the business. That's why we think about this kind of stuff. Okay. As much as 19% lift adding Rex to transactional messages. That's pretty hefty. Post-purchase, keep customers engaged and loyal to your brand. Extension of cross-sell. More time passed. What do I mean by more time passed than shopping cart abandonment? In other words, shopping cart abandonment's 1 day, 3 days, 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. This could be, remember before the little lines, 7 days and 14 days? That's what I'm talking about. Related products, complete the look. Trending or new arrivals in the last purchase category. And win back. Remember before I said about the 78,000 that we were going to forget about? Well, now we're going to start thinking about them again. Re-engage to drive conversions, new markdowns, new arrivals, bestsellers, trending hot, consumables. Do you have anybody with consumables? Want to buy it again? Need to reorder? Why not automate that? You can figure out how often they're ordering, and we do that with our recipe and our algorithms and do that automatically. Here's a case study, a win-back case study. You're looking at people who never bought and people who bought 1 or more times. An email sent to both groups. The top group is about 3 times as big as the bottom group. So we sent 326,000 to the people that never bought before and 103,000 to the people who bought. And if you can see the numbers on there, we actually had 20 purchases from that top group and 16 from the bottom group. You would expect more at the bottom, and you really did get more per 100,000. So just trying to make this so you all understand it. Let's look at what actually happened from that email that went out. Here's 3 people, and here's what actually literally happened for this email. You had, look at the dates, 2/8 of 12 And the other date when it was actually, now this is the first time we sent recommendations, was on 11/19/15. That's 2 years and 3 months. Almost 3 years went by. They had 461, 391, and 460. That's why you don't like email, because you had 461 emails sent to you over 2.5 years, 3 years, and you might have opened 13 and clicked through on 4, but you didn't buy a single thing. And yet you didn't unsubscribe. So you're still there. We sent recommendations and we got sales. That's why I use recommendations. Okay, that's pretty much, I'm going to ask for questions in just a second. I just want to talk real quickly about that. In the beginning, I talked about display. This is the future. We're starting to do it right now with Giggle and a company called Movies Unlimited. Anybody know Giggle? Got children? Anybody buy from Giggle? Anybody know them? Pretty good brand. If you haven't seen it before, you might want to look at it. They're our first people to do display advertising. They browse your site and they leave the site. They go to wherever, CNN, wherever they go, weather.com, and they see the same products when they leave. Now, let's just say they didn't click through those products. What's an email company going to do? Well, we got to send them an email. So we send an email, and let's say they click through there. Now they go back to your site, and if they don't buy and they leave again, guess what follows them? The display. Oh, don't you love it? It's just fun. Display ad follows you all around, and that's something we're starting to do. We just did. Got 2 clients on it right now, and that's the future. And there's one other thing that is coming along. I'm not going to bring it out right now. You'll have to bring me back, Charles. You have to bring me back. Let me conclude. Customers value the right product recommendations. How can recommendations contribute to your goals? Test, test, test. I think we talked about that. Will your product feed support merchandising and marketing needs? What business filters will solve your needs? And use recommendations across all channels. That's it. I know it was fast, but I only had 30 minutes, so you have to forgive me for talking fast. Any questions? Thank you.